I'm going to start by making a head turn using a smart bone. So it looks like the character is turning his head 90 degrees, first to his right and then to his left. So I'm moving the different elements of his face over to the side of his head and then changing the shape of the head a little bit so it looks like a side view. And the parts of his head that are kind of floating outside, like half of his mouth and his other eye, those will be invisible when I render it. It just shows in the working view because I'm using a mask. This isn't the only way to do a head turn. You could just use static images with switch layers, like maybe front view, 3/4 and side, but you won't get the subtle animation. It'll just be a pop to one view, which is fine. It depends on the style of animation you want to do. Just so I know how to do it, I'm going to build this out this way. The hard part here was figuring out the hair turning. It's a weird shape, and there's a lot of points to move around. In the future, I would probably break these up into different shapes instead of just one big shape. I know the ears aren't quite right, but that's good enough for now. I added these target bones to the feet. The target bones help when I'm moving the character and I need the feet to stay planted, and then the body will automatically adjust and the joints will bend like that. And you can animate that off and on whenever you need it. Now I'm going to do the body turn, same principle as the head turn. I think the body turn is actually a little easier. You just move the arms and legs to the center in line with the spine, and then you change the shape of the body from front view to side view by moving points around. So I made this sort of kidney bean shape with the belly sticking out a little bit and his lower back arching in. And then do that on the other side. In this version, I have collar bones that connected the arms to the main spine. They work fine here, but when I needed to have the character rotate a full 360, they kind of got in the way. So I ended up deleting them later, and it works fine. So the arms are set up the same way as the legs, where they're kind of not physically connected, but the parent is the spine, the center bone. So when I first did it, I made it so that the body turn bone turned the head as well, but then I realized I didn't want to do that. I want those two to be independent so that I could have the body twisted one way and the head looking somewhere else. I'm going to make smart bones to control the eyes. This is something that you would do earlier, but I couldn't get it to work properly the first few times for some reason. I think it was just a parenting issue and I didn't quite understand how to do it, but I figured it out now and this works fine, where one smart bone action controls the left and right and then the other one controls the up and down. So because I changed the way I did the binding of the bones, it kind of broke for the head turn. So they're just kind of staying there while the rest of the head moves. So I just went back in and I bound them properly to the main head and then animated them when they turn. And now I can see the eyebrows are having the same issue, so I have to go in and change that as well. And that's the good thing about Moho. If something's not working, if something gets broken, you could just go back in and tweak it until it works. You don't have to throw everything away and start from scratch. I'm just testing all the different controls that I set up previously to make sure it works with the head turn. Now I'm going to make a head tilt action so that the character can look up and down as well as left and right. It's the same principle as a head turn. You just move the different elements like his eyes and his nose and his mouth vertically, and then you could change the shape of anything you need, like the nose. Now I'm testing the turn and the tilt, and you can see when I combine them, it kind of looks a little weird. I think there's a way to fix that. I'm trying to learn how to do that right now, actually. I think there's a way if you make a third smart bone and then move the other two, then you could kind of tweak the point some more, but I still have to experiment with that. And now I'm just testing to see if all of the facial animation works, even with that tilt and the turn, and it looks good so far. I decided to add a star to his shirt, just some sort of graphic element to help sell the illusion of his body turn. So I'm just kind of squishing the artwork in the side view, and I think that looks a little better. It's easier to read instead of just having a solid color. Alright, so now we have a character that could turn 180 degrees, his head and his body, as well as a little bit of a tilt up and down. So in the next video I'll complete the rest of the turn so that he could do the full 360 and add some other little things as well.